relegation to the Premier League in 2013. They've been there ever since. And now they're in a major European final. A huge achievement for Oliver Glasner and his players. And are they going to win another trophy?
Well, unbelievable. We've actually made it to a European final. A quite incredible night last night on Wednesday night. A 2-1 win over Shakhtar, and we've made it through. So how on earth did we get here? What's the story? Well, I wanted to make this video quickly, so I haven't really got a script or anything. But I have some notes, so let's give it a go. There's some debate whether Palace were founded in 1905 or 1861. Well, it turns out it was 1861. So therefore, until last year, we hadn't won anything for somewhere between 120 and 160 years. And then, as you know, we won the FA Cup and then the Charity Shield. And now we're in the final of the Conference League. So we're on our way to Leipzig. We're going to play Rayo Vallecano, a Spanish team who really are a bit of a minnow as well. Apparently very poor facilities that they have, so it should be an incredible occasion. I went to my first ever game for Crystal Palace in 1998, the 27th of September. I was in the Arthur Waite stand. We played Sheffield United and we won 1-0 with a goal by Sasa Čurčić from Croatia. He was a great player. In the same team at the time, we had a guy called Attilio Lombardo. His nickname was the Bald Eagle. And he was also quite extraordinary. So after that first game, I was completely hooked. And then in 2001, my God, a complete disaster. We're about to get relegated, potentially from League One, and we're playing Stockport. We have to win the game, and Huddersfield had to lose to Birmingham.
Well, some seem already to have accepted the inevitable. Have the players also accepted that fate? Wilbraham with a flick on, Mullins with a header clear, and that was a handball by Hopkin, and it was a crazy handball, and yet he got away with it. That could have been so costly. This is Dougie Freedman. And he's gone right the way through! Would you believe it? It's a goal for Dougie Freedman that could mean survival for Crystal Palace. It's a controversial goal because there was a clear handball at the other end from David Hopkin, but you can feel the relief from Stockport to Selhurst Park, and all of a sudden Huddersfield are in big trouble. Well,
Dougie Freedman, the god that he is, scored in the last 2 or 3 minutes to keep us up. And then we had to wait for the result in Birmingham, and luckily Huddersfield didn't win. That's the first bit of drama. And then in 2010, we have financial drama. We're about to go into liquidation, or financial management, and a huge tax bill we couldn't pay. And then we were saved by a consortium called CPFC 2010, made up of Palace fans, Steve Parish, Martin Long, Stephen Browett, and Jeremy Hosking. I remember being at a Charlton game where they came on the pitch to be applauded, and can you believe it? The Charlton's fans booed. I mean, we were about to disappear and they booed.
Steve created an account called CPFC 2010 on the bulletin board, put a message explaining the situation.
I just couldn't see how it could be done. I sat on my sofa and probably learned the power of football in everybody's lives, wrote a statement outlining why it wasn't possible, and it just wouldn't happen. Within 5 seconds, it seemed, it was running as a banner underneath the Sky Sports News that was going out, and the note that I sent precipitated an incredible chain of events. And the next day I woke up and there were 3,000 fans outside Lloyd's Bank in London. And very, very quickly we received a phone call saying, look, we need to sit down and talk to you about this football stadium.
You don't normally get the administrator of a failing business to sell it because his customers get so worked up on television. But that really was brilliant, the way the fans got behind the club and almost forced the hand to make them sell the club to us. What Steve did and what the fans did by protesting at Lloyd's was persuade them that they had to sell it at a reasonable price to the owners of the club and it couldn't be redeveloped.
Sales of players have been delayed, a deal is close.
In addition, 3,000 supporters went down to the bank who owned the ground to demand that they sell the ground, and that was a turning point. That year we had a big points deduction, and it came down to the last game against Sheffield Wednesday. We had to not lose that game, so-called Survival Sunday, and we got a 2-2 draw, and we stayed in the division.
With the corner, floated in, and Lee scores for Crystal Palace. Alan Lee with the goal for Crystal Palace, which could save them and could relegate Sheffield Wednesday. The delight is all the way to the Crystal Palace fans. Look at this.
Well, it's off the training ground, isn't it? Calvin Andrews stops at the near post and spins out the way. What they do then is they come into the space that he leaves. Look at this, absolutely free. The centre forward. It was a big decision to play him today. Were they going to go one up front and 5 in midfield? They've gone for 2 strikers. Alan Lee buries it from a few yards. You can see the frustration. You must stay tight with your defence, with your teammate there.
Hoovers has come forward.
The second ball's the most important one.
Good clearing header. Break here, Johnny Ertel. Header fed down first to win, and he did. Beavers. Good by Tungay. Leon Clark trying to put Butterfield under pressure and make life uncomfortable for the Palace man. And he has! And it's play on, and it's Leon Clark! Finish! And Hillsborough explodes with joy. Leon Clark, that might be the goal of his life.
I have to say, huge question mark here. Danny Butterfield, loads of experience, right? This is what you do with this ball. You deal with it, you put it into play. He takes a chance here. Is he fouled? Possibly, but he doesn't get it. This is a tight angle. It's an exceptional finish. It's a very, very good finish. He could have had a penalty. He could have had a free kick on the edge of the box earlier. He's taken his one opportunity and they're back into the game.
Well, Mark, we said one Sheffield Wednesday goal doesn't keep them up, but it's going to change Hillsborough, and Hillsborough has come alive.
Well, we can, Steve, when that goal went in there, where we're sitting now, vibrated from everybody around us, jumping up and down. The stand has won. You know, that's a very experienced player, Danny Butterfield. I was so surprised he didn't deal with it. What is the benefit there of trying to keep that ball in play? I think he went for the throw. They've created the 1 or 2 opportunities that they needed, and they've been able to finish. Tungay with that scrambling 18-yard box, and then also there, just another opportunity.
Here's Scannell. Ambrose! Goal! Darren Ambrose for Crystal Palace, and that may do it, because Sheffield Wednesday have it all.
So for many years, Palace were a yo-yo club, so-called. So up and down, up and down. Relegated in 92, 93, relegated 94, 95, relegated 97, 98, and relegated in 2004. I was at the 2004 games. It was at Charlton. We had to beat them. And we were doing nicely. We were winning by a goal, and then a really stupid foul way away from the goal, which was going nowhere. And that led to a goal pretty much in the last minute for Charlton. And we went down. Anyway, then comes 2013, and we get into the Premiership by the playoffs.
Bolassi's gone across to the left to have a go at Calderon. Here he is. Now the delivery to Wolverhampton. Wilfried Zaha might just have had the biggest save of his Crystal Palace career in the biggest match on the biggest stage.
Well, there's a small section behind that goal going absolutely bananas, but the rest of the stadium have been stunned. And the quality of the delivery again. Twice in the matter of 2 or 3 minutes, there's been real quality whipped in from that left-hand side. This time, it's Bolassi. And look at that. Wayne Bridge gets caught sleeping. Look, Wayne Bridge's immediate reaction when Zaha heads that in is to put his hands on his head. He knows that he has to deal with that. But the former England man switches off, and Zaha is in like a flash to bullet that in the back of the net, and how big that may prove to be.
Dickachoy. Zaha! Oh, yes! Wilfried Zaha, single-handedly, firing Palace to Wembley.
Well, we spoke about him at half-time. Peter Beagrie looked at him.
That he's a great goalkeeper, and he rescued them there. The fourth official, John Brooks, will show the stoppage time for the first period of extra time. And the ball has dropped to Kevin Phillips from a ball clearance by Exton. Here's Zaha to run at Cassetti. Oh, he's tumbled in the box. It's a penalty. Zaha produces. Cassetti is cautioned. And Palace have a penalty. A stone wall penalty. Ian Holloway knew it straight away. Kevin Phillips will put the ball on the spot for Crystal Palace. A man whose career started at Watford in 1994, who's been beaten in 2 playoff finals, will take the penalty and scores! Crystal Palace 1, Watford 0, and this little gem of a goal scorer nets again. His 283rd career goal, a born goal.
We beat Watford 1-0. And now we've been 13 seasons in the Premier League. So we're pretty established and doing very nicely. So how the hell did we get into Europe? Well, I've been to 2 FA Cup finals. In 2016, we lost to Manchester United. It was a true heartbreaker. We scored by Jason Puncheon with 8 minutes to go, and I was completely convinced we had won the FA Cup. And then Man United scored, and we went into extra time, and we lost 2-1. Then last year, 2025, we get to the semi-final at Wembley. We play unbelievably well to beat Aston Villa 3-0. Because I was in the US, I didn't go to that game, and I promised my family I would go to the final. And of course, we end up playing Manchester City. The night before, I remember saying to the guys, look, we're going to lose. Let's enjoy the day and have great fun. And then, of course, we're sitting there. I'm sitting next to my daughter, and Eze scores.
More what they were doing, and here's Munoz, who was very involved then. Oh, it's exactly the same. Eze arrives on the scene, the same as the semi-final, the same as at City, and with their first blow struck in anger, Crystal Palace take the lead.
Goal scorer
Crystal Palace, number 10, But this all comes about because Mateta holds the play up. When Crystal Palace go from back to front, which they did on that occasion.
First flood of tears starts. We get all the way through to the 90th minute and 10 minutes of injury time. The Palace fans were magnificent, stood up and willed the team through that last 10 minutes, and we win the FA Cup. One of the greatest days that I have ever been at. And then the big financial saga, dual club ownership, blah, blah, blah. And UEFA decide we're not going to go into the Europa League, we're going into the Conference League. So-called downgraded. And of course, over the last year or so, we've lost Elise, who turns out to be one of the best players in the world, playing for Bayern Munich. He's just lost in the semi-final to PSG of the Champions League. Eze is going to the Champions League final with Arsenal, and they'll probably win the Premiership. And then Gaety, of course, plays for Man City, still trying to get to the Premiership, but it looks as though Arsenal will win. Big turmoil at the club throughout this year. Glasner is leaving. We had a really tough start to the new year, but somehow held it together. And last night was a total extraordinary night. My family were there, and we brought a 3-1 win from our away leg at Shakhtar, and the atmosphere at Selhurst Park was just incredible. We thought we scored the first goal with Jeremy Pino, and then good old VAR get involved again. My last podcast was on VAR. It has to be changed. It was so tight. It was a ridiculous decision. But we then score a goal. So we 1-0 up and now comfortable. But then they scored a beautiful goal, let's be fair, Shakhtar. And it turns out they're a goddamn very good team. Then in the second half, Ismail Sarr comes up with the second goal, scored with his studs. And once that ball went into the net, it looked as though we were pretty much settled and going to Leipzig.
Oh, dairy, mate. Right.
So I'm going to Leipzig. 3 of my family are going to Leipzig. We just need to get 4 tickets. I booked my travel from the US. Getting to Leipzig is not so easy. So I fly to London, and then it's London to, I think, Frankfurt, and then Frankfurt to Leipzig. We've got our hotel booked in Leipzig. But this is a great club, and I love them so much. So let's hope we can pull off this European trophy. As usual, whichever team you support or sport you love, do it with passion. I'll report back from Leipzig when hopefully we've secured the Conference League. It looks as though we're safe in the Premiership, and all is good in the world. I will see you soon. Bye.